Welcome to the Monique Method Show, where business meets science and intuition on WGSO 990 AM and streaming live on WGSO.com. Monique Gild's unique technique leverages her cutting-edge and no-nonsense approach to evaluate you, your business, and your projects, to see and pinpoint blocks, and as a futurist, she has the know-how to catapult your business to the next level. So call in with your questions to 504-556-9696. And now, here's the host, Monique Gild.
Hello, everyone here. I am so glad you're joining me today on the Monique Gild Method radio show. I am excited to be with you and to go over our topic today, which is actually, whose house are you purchasing with your time, both professionally as well as personally? And I'm going to get into that in a bit. If you have any calls regarding your business, or if you have ever asked yourself, how far can my business go? What are my true strengths? What should I really be doing in my career? Why do I feel so stuck? What is my next step? Join me today, and you may also call in to the station, 504-556-9696 with your questions. I'm here in Malibu right now at this moment, and we are doing this amazing program all over the world, which is helping people get unblocked in their business and career lives. And what are the blocks that prevent us from hearing how we're being intuitively guided, as well as how can we begin to hear that intuitive voice and have it move us forward into our business and career lives? And I always say, it's the personal stuff that will get the business stuff blocked. And so really beginning to identify personally, are there people in your life? Are there business partners? Is there someone in your business life that you find yourself having to pick up the slack? Or are you doing a little too much hand-holding with one of your partners or any of the investors or whoever it may be, and you're justifying and you're not seeing the reality of the situation? And even resentments, when resentments start to build, they can be such a block to the past, from the past, and you end up bringing that into your future and creating a future reality based in resentments that could be held long time ago. And also to negative thoughts towards someone that you work with. Those negative thoughts end up creating a whole cycle within themselves and become such an enormous block to the reality and to hearing what steps you're going to take next to further your business and your career. So again, whose house are you purchasing with your time? Now that can be both mentally and literally physically, because even giving mental time to someone in your thoughts, especially if they're resentments or negative thinking, that sort of thing, absolutely is, you're taking up your time and you're giving your mental focus towards this type of situation. Now, of course, the main thing is in love. Love is such a huge topic, and it can affect our business in ways that are beyond anything you can ever imagine. And this can be love of family, love of friends, your romantic relationships. The love area always affects the business stuff, and it can be for the best. So this is a topic I really want to jump in today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to call me at 504-556-9696. I'd love to take your calls. Now I'm going to jump into this. So essential to love what you do and respect the people that you work with, whether they're your partners, investors, or clients, it has a huge impact on what the business will gain or be the cause of plummeting sales. It's the personal love stuff that may distract the business or skyrocket your business, career, product, or project into a new future arena. You attract into your life exactly where you are on a frequency level, and also what you believe you deserve. Now, what does that mean? Self-worth, where we are, how we feel worthy within our sales, affects the numbers. Like if you are feeling, let's say you're making sales at $10,000 a month, but you want to jump up to $20,000 a month, but you have set certain thoughts around how you feel like, oh my gosh, $20,000, that's so much. My dad never made that kind of money, or people are going to feel funny or think funny things about me if I make that much money. Or, I mean, we could even be talking about $20 million. It just depends on where you are on the spectrum. So when you're jumping into a new arena numerically, it's really important to look and see, are you taking on someone else's belief systems in that area? Are you taking on what someone thought about those numbers in their head when you were a kid growing up? Let's say if you had an uncle who used to make fun of the people down the street who were multimillionaires, and that's all you heard about as a kid is, oh, those multimillionaires, oh, those people, those wealthy people down the street, who do they think they are? Or you could even have family members make fun of other people within the family because now they've become successful. And that's really an interesting place to look at, because so often family members, people within your own family, will bring you down, will not be supportive, will not applaud you in your success. And how do you stay focused on the reality that you're creating and not play small, not keep yourself held down, not keep yourself in a position where you're going to continue to fit into the family dynamic? You really get to look at, is this a family dynamic you really want to fit into? Is this a family dynamic that you want to continue to be a part of? Is giving up your life and your vision in order to be accepted within the family dynamics or within a group of people or certain friends will cause so much havoc in your business life, I can't even tell you. It's so important for you to bloom and blossom and be you. Be those dreams, those visions, those ideas that you have for your life and where you're going. The universe, God, whatever you want to say, that energy, that greater connective force in the galaxies, put that in you before you even arrived. And the more you align with that power and that energy, and you begin to hear how your intuitive voice is guiding you, and you heal and clear up the blocks that prevent you from hearing how you're being guided, I promise you, 20,000 will become like a no-brainer. It'll be like, of course I can do that. Of course I can do that, because I have a feeling, I have a desire in me that is so big that it will override and it will trump any outside voices or internal voices that you digested as a kid. It will override all that stuff. So call in here if you got any questions. Have you ever asked yourself, how far can my business go? What are my true strengths? What should I really be doing in my career? Why do I feel so stuck? What is my next step? As a business intuitive, a futurist, and a turnaround and development strategist, I have worked with companies and businesses and people all over the world. Any type of product or project that has become stuck, or people are figuring out, companies are figuring out what to do next, what to create next. I have an inherited ability, and I'm able to know exactly what's caused a business to get stuck on an atomic and molecular level. And I know exactly what to do to turn it around. You can look at some of my stuff and read some of the testimonials on my website at www.moniqueguild.com. It'll explain there, and there's also an amazing article on there called The Psychology of Money is Just Your Chemical Makeup, and it will get into what I am discussing here. But it's so important to really, really start contemplating this. And the more you're in contemplation, the greater you think greater thoughts, the greater and further you will go. Because you are the cause in the matter. Oftentimes I spend time with clients discussing things in the romantic department and how that affects their business. And again, I always say it's the personal stuff that will get the business stuff blocked. I tell my clients, I say, affairs of the heart can block your business, derail you from your vision, and you end up completely frustrated both in love and in business. Because there is so much emotion involved with love, with affairs of the heart. And again, I'm talking about love. It can be in your personal life, but I'm also talking about in your family life, in your friendships. It really absolutely can have an impact on us. So you get to look at who are you loving? Who are you loving and willing to put ahead of your business and your life?
This is Monique Guild, host of the Monique Guild Method. I will be taking callers Wednesdays at noon on WGSO 990 AM. And I want to help you unblock your business issues, turn around, and develop what's next.
Hello. Welcome back to the Monique Guild Method radio show. Thank you for joining me here. This is Monique Guild, and we are discussing whose house are you purchasing with your time, professionally as well as personally? If you'd like to call in, if you have any questions, if you have ever asked yourself, how far can my business go? What are my true strengths? What should I really be doing in my career? Why do I feel so stuck? What is my next step? Join me here, ask questions, call in. Let's get your business questions answered. Love to help you. I'm going to get back on this topic of whose house are you purchasing with your time. We left off right at the commercial break, and I was saying you are the cause in the matter. And then I often spend time with clients discussing things in the romantic department and how that affects your business life or their business life. And I always say it's the personal stuff that gets the business stuff blocked. And I talk to my clients so much about this whole love thing, whether it's love of family, love of friends, personal relationships, because it's very, very powerful. And people don't realize how much this affects their career and businesses and their numbers, their financial numbers. And it all boils down to one theme that I love discussing, and people can apply this again to their personal relationships, to partners within their business, that sort of thing. And it's a metaphor of finding a good, healthy, stable relationship. It's like buying a house. And we're going to replace purchasing a home with buying the products that this person is selling, which is the person's character and their physical and emotional well-being. Now, again, this can be your partners, this can be your personal relationship, this can be your family. Really take a look at what products is this person, family member, selling? What is their character? Are they walking their talk? And also their physical and emotional well-being. How are you letting that impact your own business life? Instead of using dollars, we're going to use time. Your time, the time you have left here on earth. Time is not replaceable. So I'm going to use my client Susan, who was really upset about another relationship that had not worked out. A guy that she'd been dating broke up with her because he was still pining over an ex-girlfriend, right? And I said to her, this is a perfect opportunity for growth here. And in fact, what you are seeing reflects you. You are attracting guys who are exactly in the same place as you. And I continued on, and I said to her, listen to what you just said to me. You told me you were still pining over so-and-so from a year ago. So it makes sense that this new guy just broke up with you because he is pining over his ex. He's just mirroring exactly where you are. And I pause here because, again, replace this with family people or personal other, friendships in your life. When they're telling you don't do something or do this or do that, they're just reflecting really where it's kind of complicated where you are, but they're mirroring to you what is inside of you that needs to be healed. You need to clean up your own energy and become clear and clean with your past and what you want, because you are going to attract people who mirror precisely at the level of what you are emanating. And this isn't like any kind of woo-woo stuff, or it's not any of that. It's physics. It's all science. And this directly applies to your business. So the next step in this house buying, quote-unquote, business here process, we're using this as a metaphor, is about commitment. So I also observed the following, and I told her, I said, you are sitting on the fence about being committed. There's a part of you that wants to invest, but the other part of you does not want to miss out on other possibilities. I said, you're going to attract guys in who are still into other possibilities and are not wanting to or willing to commit. And I said, the same with business partners. Is there someone in your business life that you find yourself having to pick up the slack? Or are you doing a little too much hand-holding, or you're justifying their actions or covering up for them, or you're just not seeing the reality of the situation? And again, I talked about resentment earlier. Any type of resentments with your business partners or investors or just anyone, it keeps you so stuck in the past that it is impossible to hear what your next step is in the moment right now. You can't. You just cannot possibly hear if you're so mirrored in or, lathering yourself up in resentment and have all those chemicals flowing, and you're rehearsing in your mind over and over again what you resent, what what they did to you, all that sort of stuff. That's putting a picture in the frontal lobe of your brain. And what happens is that all goes out into the cosmos, and you begin to attract those pictures back to you. And also, I'll just segue real quick here. When you're listening to other people's conversations and what they resent and all the stuff that's going on in their lives, you're putting their picture in your brain, and you will begin to attract things that are happening in their life. So negative thoughts towards someone that you work with it's crucial that you get this stuff cleaned up. So here's the key. I advised Susan, I said, you've got to decide on what you want. Do you still want to keep dating, or do you want to get married? Do you want a commitment and thereby cutting out all of the distractions, internal distractions, the distracting thoughts, or externally, so that you may focus and find what you're capable of producing? Susan, she bought a beautiful condo. And she'd been living in a tiny little bitty studio for years before this. I remember when she had this little bitty studio, and she ended up buying this condo where it was so small she could barely move around. I reminded her that she once told me that she would never be in the position to move out of the studio. And I told her this was like when you decided, this whole this thing with love. I said, this is like when you decided to buy that condo. You committed to buying a condo. You you researched until you found exactly what you wanted. You did not go out one day, look around and say, oh, there's nothing here. There's nothing out there. I'm just going to stay exactly where I am, small, in this tiny little itty-bitty studio. You didn't do that at all. You started getting really clear and really focused on what you wanted. And also, too, you were ready to buy. Like, you were ready to buy. That's where your mindset was. You were buying. You got real clear about what you wanted, how much you were willing to spend, what type of environment, the neighborhood, the community, the city, what type of environment you wanted to be in, and you were really clear about it all. You did not go back and forth and say, yes, but I want to buy. No, I don't want to buy. Yeah, sure, I want to buy. No, I'm too scared. I'm not going to buy. Oh, I don't know if I should buy. You just knew you wanted to buy. You were committed that you no longer wanted to rent And in this place, you can put into place, like with relationships, no longer willing to date. You were no longer willing to rent, that you started looking at places that were for sale. It's the same with relationships. You started looking for people who were willing to be in a committed relationship. So again, you were committed, that you no longer wanted to rent, i.e. date, that you started looking at places that were for sale or people who wanted to be in commitments. You did not go to places that were for rent when what you really wanted to do was buy. I mean, that's not going to make any sense, right? So I told her, I said, follow this rule. You don't date people who are only renting. You date people who have the intention of selling. And this also applies to people you are considering having a professional relationship with, whether it be a partner, if you're merging companies, that sort of thing. You can apply all this both in your dating and your professional life. So you put it out there, I'm buying a condo, and in this case you wanted to get into a committed, monogamous relationship that leads to marriage. And I asked her, I said, are you sure? Is this really, really, really what you want now? And she said, yes, this is exactly what I want. So the next step, I'm going to come back to in a moment after the commercial break here at WGSO. This is the Monique Guild Method Radio Show.
This is Monique Guild, host of the Monique Guild Method. I will be taking callers Wednesdays at noon on WGSO 990 AM. And I want to help you unblock your business issues, turn around, and develop what's next.
Welcome back to the Monique Guild Method Radio Show. And we are discussing, today's topic is, whose house, in quotes, are you purchasing with your time? And I'm giving an analogy and a metaphor of buying a condo or buying a house is like people you get into partnership with in businesses. And are they willing, when you're buying a condo or a house, you are actually buying. You're not looking at rentals. You're buying. So you're looking for things that are for sale. And it's the same thing with personal relationships. When you are wanting to get married, you date people who are wanting to get married. You don't date people who are just, quote unquote, renting. They're just wanting to date. You date people who are also interested in and are getting married too. And the same with partnerships, people you go into business with. What are they wanting to do? What are they really saying they are about? People tell us exactly who they are, probably in the first hour of you meeting them. And oftentimes we miss the signs. We do not listen to what people are saying. We think, oh, they didn't really mean that, or, oh, maybe I could convince them to be, X, Y, Z, or I could do this or do that. And all that manipulation, all that stuff goes into when we don't really hear what someone says, causes a lot of friggin' wasted time. So I'm going to jump back into where I was left off here. But I am Monique Guild. This is the Monique Guild Method Radio Show. And this is where you get to bring your business questions to me. Anything that is stuck or blocked in business or your career, or you're wondering what your next step is, please jump in, call the station here at 504-556-9696. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions, your business questions. And but in the meantime, we're going to proceed forward here. I was giving the story about my client Susan, and we're talking about buying the analogy of buying a condo or a house, and also with relationships. So I told her, I said, so the next step would be for you to decide what type of house, like the type of person, do you want? Do you want to buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, etc.? Do you want to live in the suburbs? Do you want to live in the city, the farm, all this sort of stuff? It's so important to really take a look, what do you want? And then when you're looking at going into business with someone or looking at dating somebody, that you're or marrying, wanting to get married, that you're really looking and asking questions. Make decisions on the type of house, or in parentheses, relationship that you want. So make decisions on the type of house that you want, and then you visit those homes. It's like you visit those dates. You go on a bunch of dates and you look at the dates. You're looking at a house. And the thing is I would not go see a farmhouse if what you want to do is live in the city. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing in dating. You don't go date someone who is, just like what I said just here. You don't go look at a farmhouse when what you want to do is live in the city. So next, you got to qualify for a loan, right? So you know how much you can, you want to know exactly how much you can invest. And in this time, we're using the word invest also to mean time. So you know how much you can invest. And in this case of dating, how much time are you willing to spend on this person? Which is way more valuable because you don't get that time back. You don't get it back. And it also goes for family members. How much time are you willing to spend on your family members in people-pleasing, in playing small, in not being who you are, in listening to their petty BS about what they say about you and how what your dreams are and your goals and your future ambitions, and even paying any mind to what they're saying. If it's not supportive, in my case, cut them off. Why? Why spend your time in fitting in or being in a situation that isn't 100% supportive on your dreams and goals and visions of what you're creating in your life? If they're not willing to invest the time to understand you and want to understand where you're coming from, and I'm talking about friends, I'm talking about anybody. In anything that you're creating, if people really love you and want the best for you, they will want to get to know you and know. They may say, this is the craziest idea you've ever said in your life. This is the whatever. But heck, if you're this passionate about it, you go for it. You do it. Good for you. And so remember, we don't ever get this time back again. So decide how much time you're willing to spend in viewing this person or this house, right, that they are selling. Meaning, like, this person is a house and they're selling their goods to you. How much time are you willing to spend in viewing this? You need to keep in mind that you are investing your time in this home. Ask yourself, is this the best investment of my time? So again, I'm going to do a little recap here. Get clear on what you want first. Ask yourself, am I willing to spend time in this house that this person is selling? In other words, do I like what this person is selling? Look, if I walked into a house that had a potential for a mold problem, I would not invest a nanosecond more in looking at that house. I would be out of there so fast because I am deathly allergic to mold. And so any quote-unquote, any potentials, oh, he has so much potential, or oh, she has so much potential, any of those thoughts you start having about people, or I'm talking about potential, like partners, business partners, people that you're thinking about going into a business with, and you think to yourself, oh, they have so much potential. That's great and all, but really, what are they selling? What are they selling? Who are they telling you they are? What have they accomplished? What are they bringing to the table? Because you want to make sure you're not in a position where you're having to caretake of someone. I have a client who he is a commercial developer, and they built government hospitals and government institutions and hospitals and that sort of thing. And he was an owner and 4 partners, and he had one partner that was $400,000 in debt to the company. And I'm like, how did you I mean, I was thinking in my mind, I didn't say it out loud. How did you get to a point where you allowed one of your partners to get $400,000 in debt to the company? Like, how does that happen? It was because this guy is a caretaker. He's a total caretaker. And he kept thinking, oh, it'll get better. Oh, it'll turn around. I'll just give him one more chance. And this is the same in personal relationships. I'll just give him one more chance. Oh, it'll get better. Somehow it'll change. Somehow it'll be different next time. All this BS that we tell ourselves. And it's like, if you just really pay attention to the red flags immediately, and don't hope that one day it's going to get better and think that the problem will somehow magically disappear. Oh, they'll eventually stop drinking. Oh, this guy, this person who was $400,000 in debt to the company. I mean, what the guy ended up doing, I spoke to the owner. I said, let me work with this guy. I can get him turned around, because I knew that this guy he was an extreme sports skier, and I knew that if I tapped into the neural nets of extreme sports skiing, we could get this situation turned around. But this guy, number one, he had to be willing to get help. He had to be willing to admit he had a problem and that he was in debt and that certain things were going on, and he was willing to get help and do whatever he had to do to turn the situation around. And so he worked with me. And within 6 weeks of working with me, I was able to identify within the first hour, exactly what has the person stuck and exactly what needs to happen to turn the business around. This guy swore he would never be like his dad, a white-collar worker in a cubicle with 2.5 kids. He was an extreme sports skier guy, but yet here he was doing exactly what his dad was doing, did, and he hated it. And it was no wonder he became $400,000 in debt to the company. But once we figured all this out, and I tapped in the neural nets of extreme sports skiing and all that sort of stuff, and we fired all that up, within 6 weeks of working with me, his projects were scheduled to close between $4.2 million and $7 million. He ended up closing at $5 million, paid the owner back the $400,000, and he bought the company from the owner. So if for some reason you get into a partnership, whether in business or in your personal life, and you see that the person is willing to look at themselves, they're willing to see who they are, they're willing to do what they need to do to turn things around, they're willing to admit that they don't know, they are willing to get help, whatever it may be, then I wouldn't start a relationship off like that. But into the relationship, then I may consider, continuing on or that sort of thing. It's a tricky situation, but you really want to be very clear on what you want first. And I'm going to continue and pick this back up at the other side of the commercial break.
This is Monique Guild, host of the Monique Guild Method. I will be taking callers Wednesdays at noon on WGSO 990 AM. And I want to help you unblock your business issues, turn around, and develop what's next.
Hi there. Welcome back to the Monique Guild Method radio show on WGSO 990 AM. And we are discussing whose house are you purchasing with your time. And so again, I just want to go over, get really clear on what you want first. Ask yourself, are you willing to invest the time in this house, or put the word partnership or person you're dating? Are you willing to invest the time in this house that this person is selling? Do you like what they're selling? That sort of thing. It's really important to start to evaluate, getting really, really clear into thoughts of, like, if you're having thoughts of he has so much potential or she has so much potential, or oh, this partnership has so much potential, just start looking at that. Ask yourself, is this home too high of a price to pay? Is this person too high of a price to pay? Is this partnership too high of a price to pay? Will it be too big of a house to pay emotionally, spiritually, financially down the line? Now, again, replacing the word house with person, okay? Will you be out of your spending budget, meaning your emotional budget? Will the cost be too high? Or is this house a wise investment, and you will receive tremendous benefit, support, and love in the long run, growth, expansion, monetary success in all areas? Again, the difference between the dollars and the time is that you never get the time back. You can't say, oh, I just spent another year with you. I will just make some more time. You can make more dollars, but you can never make more time. So recap. We'll go through this again. How do you want to live your life? Ask yourself questions. Do you want to date different people and travel the world? Because I was talking to my client, Susan, in case you're just joining us so you can understand where I'm coming from. I said to her, do you want to date different people and travel around the world? Or be a stay-at-home mom or dad? These are different things. And again, you can ask yourself business questions in the same context, but as a business person. And then what do you want to accomplish in your life? Do you want to be a mother of 3, or do you want to save the world? Or do you want to create a product or a project or something that transforms the planet somehow? Make sure your own house is in order. This is key. Who you are, your inside self, is in order. Make sure that there's any addictions or resentments or negative thoughts or things you need to clean up from the past or amends that you need to make to other people so you can hear how you're being intuitively guided in this moment, because you don't want to be so caught up in resentments that you cannot hear how you're being guided. So make sure your own quote-unquote house is clean, and I'm talking about your internal house. Make a list of the qualities you want in the other individual, and then also begin to develop those qualities in yourself. For example, if you want someone who has integrity and is monogamous, you need to be the same. Be who you want reflected back to you, both professionally and personally. Focus on what you want. Don't think that something will be different down the line, like, oh, somehow they're going to magically change. Oh, somehow they're going to magically stop drinking and be different. Oh, somehow they're going to be supportive. Or, oh, that person really isn't that mean. And then you wonder why you get together with them again and you're like, oh my God, that person's really mean. Like, people are who they are when you generally meet them within the first hour. They are who they are. And be willing to see people who come to you in business, people you work with, people who, if you're developing a product or project, and people that you're hiring, pay attention to what they're telling you. Their resumes, whatever, that's great, but listen to what they're saying to you. What have they actually done? What have they actually developed? What have they actually produced? What are their results? Don't think that something will be different down the line, and then you're shocked. You're like, oh my gosh. Yeah, no, pay attention and be willing to let go. When it's not working out, let it go. And trust that the universe is so abundant. Don't settle. Just don't settle. It's not worth it. It's not worth settling. It's in what I do, and you can look at my work at www.monique, MoniqueGuild.com, and on the home page there, you're going to see in the upper right corner, there's a gold box. And I have several free products that you may listen to how different clients have used my method in transforming their lives and cleaning up what needed to be healed internally as well as externally, beginning to learn how their intuition is speaking to them, but also really learning how to download from a future reality that has yet to be created. It's so much fun to step into the unknown. It's so much fun to expand into a place. And so often the people, I see where people have families that want to keep the other family member small. They're not into expansion. They're not into, because they're scared of their own selves. They're just passing on who they are to that person. Really pay attention to who are you listening to? Who are you getting advice from? How are you learning to expand? If you're going to a family dynamic that kept you small and they weren't expanding, I don't think that'd be like going to the bank for groceries, right? You want to be around and surrounded with other expansive minds. And really pay attention to who, I'm saying this over and over again because it's so important, because so many people are shocked in business and personally when a person a few months later ends up being the person that they said they were when they initially met them, but they didn't pay attention. And they thought, oh no, I can change this business partner. Oh, he'll get better. He won't continue to go greater and greater into debt. And then, the owner wonders why he has a partner that's $400,000 in debt to the company. So we really need to, and we get to listen, and it saves so much time. It saves millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun working with creative, expansive minds. It's so much fun stepping into the unknown and revolutionizing industries. If you didn't get a chance to listen to my last show, I speak all about that, revolutionizing industries. And I talk about Dr. John Gray, who wrote the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and how he had obstacle after obstacle to overcome in his personal life on so many levels that you just, it's mind-blowing that this guy was able to hang in there and create what he created. But he ended up writing a book and creating a book that revolutionized the way people look at relationships. So pay attention to whose house you're purchasing with your time. Pay attention to and ask questions. What is this person selling? Like if you're going to buy a house, you don't go look at rentals. You don't go look at apartments. You go look at houses that are for sale. That would be ridiculous to go look at apartments, right? So it's the same in your professional life too. You want to go towards people who are offering, who are selling, who are giving the goods that you want, that you actually, like, this is what I want. And as I gave the analogy here in what we spoke about earlier, my client Susan, she was pining over a long-lost love, and she wondered why she was dating a guy who ended up dumping her because he was pining over a long-lost love. I said to her, I said, you've got to make a decision. Do you want to just keep on dating or do you want to get married? And she's like, I want to get married now. I said, okay, then you don't go look at rentals, right? You go and look at people who actually want or to sell their house to you. So have a look at this. And again, reflect upon, have you ever asked yourself, how far can my business go? What are my true strengths? What should I really be doing in my career? Why do I feel so stuck? What is my next step? You can go to my website at www.monique, MoniqueGuild.com, and there's a newsletter you can sign up for. There's an article there called The Psychology of Money is Just Your Chemical Makeup, and I have free gifts there in the upper right-hand corner of the website. And I'm just so happy you joined me today. I love being a part of New Orleans. I'm so grateful I'm from there. And again, this is the Monique Guild Method Radio Show. See you next week.